Welcome to Movement and Function. Today's video is all about body mechanics while walking and running. I'm going to show you ways that you can check yourself out in the mirror and see if you have any asymmetries between your left side and your right side, from the ankle all the way up to your head and neck. These asymmetries might be a sign that there's something a little bit off. Maybe there's restricted motion, maybe weakness. Something's going on in your body that is causing some differences in left to right side, and you might be feeling this when you're walking or running. All right, let's get started. You'll want to have a full-length mirror handy to be able to see yourself from the toes all the way up to your head. If you don't have a full-length mirror, you'll want to have a small mirror that you can change the angle as we move from your ankles all the way up to the head. Okay, so standing in front of your mirror, let's start at the feet. First thing you'll do is just to start walking toward the mirror. And the first time you do, just notice what your feet look like. Just see if there's anything that jumps out at you that's different between your left foot and your right foot. Next, pay particular attention to how much of the bottom of your foot you can see when your heel strikes the ground. It should be about the same on both sides. So as you step forward, how much of your right foot do you see versus how much of the left foot do you see? Now let's go to the other end of your foot, and how much of your heel is coming off the ground when you toe off. So right at that point in the cycle, how much is your heel coming off the ground? And that should also be the same from the left and the right side. Next, look at the alignment of your foot. So are both of your feet pointing basically straight forward, or do your toes turn out a little bit, or do your toes turn in a little bit? There isn't any textbook perfect alignment of the foot. Some people toe in, some people toe out. What you want to pay attention to is whether it's the same or different on your left and right side. Also, is your ankle rolling in on one foot or the other? So as you put weight through your leg, does your ankle bend in toward the floor? Does your arch flatten? Or does your ankle stay in a neutral position? Now let's move up to the knee. Ideally, wear shorts when you're doing this so that you can see the skin on your knee well. What you want to look for is when you put your heel on the ground, what happens in the quadricep muscle right above your knee? You should see a contraction or a tensing of the muscle just above your knee right when your foot hits the ground. See if you notice that on the left leg and on the right leg to the same degree. Oftentimes, if one is weaker or there's been an injury, you'll see less of a contraction on that side, and it's a good indication that that area needs some attention. Next, notice if your knees are a little bit knock-kneed, like mine are. My knees go in more than my ankles. Or are you bow-legged? Do your knees bend out a little bit? And then notice if it's about the same on the left or the right side. Do you have one leg that goes out or one leg that goes in compared to the other leg? Moving up to the hips. When you're looking at your hips, either put your hands on your hips or actually pull your shirt up and pull the waistband of your shorts or your pants down a little bit so that you can see your hips. But now take a few steps and notice what happens at the top of the pelvis. Does one hip go down a little bit more than the other? Is there a rotation forward on one side more than the other? It's normal for there to be a little bit of variation in your hips, up and down and front to back. That's normal. But if you're noticing a major difference in your hips, side to side, rotation or tipping, then that's an indication that there's something a bit off through that area. Now moving on to the arm swing. As you walk, notice how much your left arm and your right arm swing forward and back. If you're walking slowly, you might not swing your arms very much. So for this one, walk as quickly as you can and notice the arm swing on both sides. Moving up even farther, now look at your trunk. Notice if there's side-to-side motion in your trunk or even rotation through your trunk and through your shoulders. And then finally, let's move up to the head and the neck. Same thing. Notice if your head or your neck either moves side to side this way or tips to the side or rotates a little bit more to one side than the other. I suggest taking notes as you go through this. Just jot down on a piece of paper what you notice about your left and your right side, working your way from your toes all the way up to the head. And then when you're done, go ahead and review your notes and see if there's any pattern that shows up for you. Oftentimes, just by noticing these things, you may be able to figure out what is going on based on your history, based on injuries you might have, or other issues that you've had in the past that have caused some weakness or some tightness, or other types of differences left and right. Sometimes just by having the feedback of the mirror, it's enough for your body to know how to make the changes necessary to even things up. And sometimes not. Sometimes you'll need a little bit more help. But starting with this work in front of the mirror is a great initial step. Okay, next I recommend walking on some type of soft surface like sand or light dirt that will leave a footprint. So try to walk 20 or 30 feet, either barefoot or in a shoe that you would use to exercise, a walking or running shoe. Notice the footprint. Is one footprint heavier than the other, indicating you're putting more weight on that side? Notice the heel strike and notice the toe off. Is the footprint deeper on the front part of the foot or the back part of the foot? How about the outside or the inside part of the foot? Also notice if your footprint on one foot is turned out or turned in a little bit. Also try walking on a firm surface barefoot and just notice how it feels on your foot. Is one foot more sensitive than the other, especially on your heel as you land or on your toes as you push off? Okay, after you've done all of these self-assessments, go ahead and look through your notes, review those, and just try to make a couple changes. See how it feels in your body. Addressing those asymmetries goes beyond the scope of this video. I've already posted a ton of videos with stretches and strengthening exercises from toes all the way up to your neck. So if you notice any particular body area that needs a little bit of attention, feel free to check out my videos covering exercises in that area and see if some of those might be helpful for you. Also, you might benefit from seeing a physical therapist for an individualized evaluation and personalized treatment plan to specifically address your needs. I hope you find this video helpful to give you information to restore normal walking mechanics and help you get back to doing the things that you love to do every single day. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and give it a thumbs up. Here's to your health, happiness, and everyday function. Have a wonderful day.